What if the very instincts that feel like survival are, in fact, the architects of our financial prisons? We believe we are making rational choices, acting in our own self-interest. But beneath the surface of our decisions, a hidden script is running, a set of paradoxical rules that promise. This isn't about blaming the victim or repeating tired advice. This is about uncovering the cognitive traps that masquerade as common sense. These are not mistakes of character, but errors in a code we never realized we were running. They are the invisible walls that confine us. Today, we explore three of the most profound financial paradoxes. The mental glitches that cause us to work against our own long-term prosperity, even when our intentions are pure. Understanding them is the first step toward rewriting our own code and escaping the loop. The first is perhaps the most insidious, because it thrives in the very conditions it creates. It is the paradox of scarcity. When resources are tight, our brain does something remarkable. It focuses with laser-like intensity on the immediate problem at hand. This focus, this tunnel vision, is a survival mechanism. It helps us find the next meal, or figure out how to pay the rent that's due tomorrow. But this intense focus comes at a tremendous cognitive cost. It consumes our mental bandwidth, leaving little room for anything else. Long-term planning, creative problem-solving, and the assessment of complex opportunities are all casualties of this cognitive tax. The very act of worrying about not having enough makes it harder to ever have enough. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. Consider the payday loan. An individual in a scarcity mindset knows the interest rate is crippling. But the immediate problem, the overdue bill, is so consuming that the long-term consequence feels abstract, a problem for a future self who has more bandwidth to worry. This paradox explains why someone might neglect preventative car maintenance until a small issue becomes a catastrophic, job-threatening breakdown. The tunnel vision of scarcity prioritizes the immediate small saving over the predictable, larger future cost. To escape, one must find a way. It requires creating even a sliver of slack, automating a tiny saving, scheduling time to plan, or seeking advice, to break the tunnel's grip and allow the long-term view to re-emerge. It's about fighting for bandwidth as fiercely as you fight for dollars. The second paradox is rooted in a deeply human fear, the fear of being a burden. This is the paradox of isolation. There is a powerful, almost noble myth of the self-made individual who pulls themselves up by their own bootstraps, asking for nothing and conquering all. But this myth is a trap. In the modern economy, wealth is not built in a vacuum. It is built on connections, on mentorship, on collaboration, and on access to information. It is built on social capital. The instinct to go it alone, born from pride or shame, is an act of financial self-sabotage. Think of the aspiring entrepreneur who refuses to share their idea for fear of it being stolen. They work in secret, missing out on critical feedback, potential partners, and early investors. Their isolation, meant to protect their creation, ends up starving it of the oxygen it needs to grow. The wealthy understand this implicitly. They don't just build financial capital, they cultivate social capital. They join masterminds, hire coaches, and build boards of advisors. They know that a single conversation with the right person can be worth more than a year of solitary hard work. Escaping this paradox requires a profound shift in mindset, from viewing help as a sign of weakness to seeing it as a strategic tool. It means reaching out, asking questions, and offering value to others to build a network. It's understanding that your net worth is tied to your network. Finally, we arrive at the third and most primal trap, the paradox of tangibility. Our brains evolved in a world where wealth was physical. It was livestock, land, tools, or grain. You could see it, touch it, and defend it. This ancient preference for the tangible is deep. In today's world, however, the most powerful wealth-building assets are often intangible. They are stocks, bonds, intellectual property, software, and specialized skills. They are numbers on a screen, ideas in a mind, or lines of code on a server. They don't offer the same vista. This paradox is why someone might feel richer after buying a $10,000 luxury watch than they would after investing that same $10,000 into an index fund. The watch is here, now. It is a physical symbol of success. The investment is an abstraction, a promise of future value. This leads to a systematic overinvestment in depreciating tangible assets, new cars, the latest electronics, designer clothes, and a chronic underinvestment in appreciating intangible ones. We buy things that make us look rich, at the expense of actions that would actually make us rich. To overcome this, we must train our minds to derive satisfaction from the intangible. To celebrate the growth of a portfolio, the acquisition of a new skill, or the development of a valuable idea with the same emotional reward we get from a physical purchase. It's about valuing the invisible engine of wealth over its visible trophies. Scarcity, isolation, and tangibility. These three paradoxes form a powerful cage. Scarcity robs us of the mental space to plan for the future. Isolation cuts us off from the networks and knowledge we need to grow. And tangibility tricks us into trading future wealth for present comfort. They are not separate issues. They reinforce one another. A scarcity mindset can lead to shame, which fosters isolation. A need for tangible status symbols can drain the very resources needed to escape the scarcity trap in the first place, creating a vicious, downward spiral. But recognizing the pattern is the key to breaking it. These are not laws of nature. They are cognitive biases. And like any bias, they can be counteracted with conscious effort and a new system of thought. The first step is awareness. The second is intentional action. True financial freedom is not just about earning more money. It is about upgrading the mental operating system that governs how you see the world. It's about building a buffer to escape scarcity's tunnel, intentionally building a network to break isolation, and learning to love the process of invisible growth. The path to wealth is littered with the ghosts of our own instincts. The greatest challenge is not to fight the world, but to fight the flawed logic within our own minds. By understanding these paradoxes, you are no longer a prisoner of your programming. You become its architect.